Hi, welcome back to part 2 of the continuation of our journey, Make Each Day Count.
Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes,
We had a really good one. It was,
first time in 2 years.
yeah, considering you weren't at home last year, this was
That's
a great
right.
one.
It's the first time in 2 years we've gotten together with my family, and it was really nice.
Everybody had plenty to eat. I think we eat leftovers for 2 days, so it was good. I think where we left off last time, I'll be looking at my notes again. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at a computer because I've got notes to make sure we keep it in order. Last time we left off with Kathy getting a new doctor, which was, in our opinion, still probably one of the best doctors ever that we've ever used. And we still don't know how she come into our life the way she did, because originally it wasn't going to be that way. So again, this is just one of those where the right person was put in the right place at the right time. So we'll go to part 2, and again, I'm just going to read and kind of ad-lib some of it. It's really hard to do this without having a lot of emotion, because there's just a lot of emotion in it. As you can tell, Kathy went to the doctor today. She's not had a good couple of days. They x-rayed her lungs again today, and trying to rule out that she had pneumonia, which we don't think she did, and the doctor doesn't think she did, but they'll know for sure tomorrow. She's not contagious or anything, not running any fevers right now. She just doesn't feel well. But those are good days and bad days, and we knew up front that's the way it was going to be, and we were told a year to a year and a half. We are just now at the year point. So I think she's doing better than expected, but you have days like this where you have some setbacks, and we just try to grin and bear it and do the best we can with it, and just thankful she's still here.
That's right. Every day's a good day
Right.
that I'm still here, and I still have family and friends to see, and I'm thankful every day.
Okay, so I just wanted you to kind of know why she looks like she feels bad, because she does. But we both agreed we still wanted to do this, and we're going to get it out to you. So as the days passed on, Kathy and I would have good days and bad days like we're having now. And I remember being called on 2 separate occasions and was told that she had less than 10% chance of surviving. I refused to believe that each time, and as usual, she always made me out to be right, even though sometimes she probably don't wish I was right. But anyway, the doctor said I should come down and spend a little time with her if I wanted to. And I couldn't at the time. I was still really sick and wasn't able to go. However, my son was able to go, and he took an iPad, and they allowed him in, and he would do the FaceTime for me and my other son, and would let us actually see her and talk to her. Keep in mind, she couldn't talk to us. I don't even know at that point that if she knew we were there or talking to her. We're not sure at what point she knew, but at some point she remembered after she woke up. She told me that she knew I was there, that she remembered me holding her hand and rubbing the top of her head and telling her that I loved her each day. So we don't know exactly when it started, but we do know it did. So kind of brings you back to wondering how many people died that they didn't allow family members to come in and actually have that physical contact and talk to them. How many would have survived had they been able to do that?
Yeah, I think a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know in your case, I will always believe me being able to be there.
Yeah, made a difference,
It
because
made
I
a
remember
difference.
that.
Yeah.
People in comas can't hear.
Yeah, we always wondered, but we're sure of it now that people in comas can hear. We don't know what point, but we know they can.
Or at least I could,
Anyway, I was sick for about 2 weeks, really sick. The first week I was sleeping on towels because I was sweating so much. I was literally getting the bed wet. So every few hours I would get up and change towels and then go back to bed. And my other son, the one that was not the police officer, my oldest son and his wife, they would bring me Gatorades. It seemed like by the gallons because they would leave it on the front porch, and I would get to the front porch and get it and drag it back in and drag myself back into the bed and just keep drinking because I knew I had to. I didn't want it. It tasted like mop water. It tasted awful. Nothing tasted good. I didn't want to eat. Didn't eat anything for several days. And finally, they brought me, of all things, was a Subway sandwich, and it was a BMT, and it had the hot mustard on it with peppers, and I could taste the hot mustard. I could taste nothing else, but I could taste the hot mustard. So they brought me one of those. I don't know. It seemed like every day for a few weeks because that's all I could taste. It didn't taste like I was sucking on a dishwasher sponge. Everything just tastes awful. But anyway, I'll move on. So for about 2 weeks, I felt really bad. But after the first week, I got to where I could get up and get around and actually take my own bath without passing out in the shower and stuff. So the second week, I got to where I could do the FaceTime with her. And then toward the end of the 2 weeks, I kept telling my son, I said, get all of the COVID tests you can get because I want to take them till I come up negative. Well, I took one every day. And then finally one day I came up negative at about the 2 week mark. Well, you know what the first thing was I did? I called down at the hospital and told them I was negative and wanted to visit my wife. And they let me come down and told me I had 15 minutes. And I put on all the PPE outfit and stuff, taped me up. And, she'd have woke up, probably scared her to death. But anyway, I put it all on, went in, and I spent my 15 minutes. And that's the first time I started holding her hand and rubbing her head and telling her how much I loved her and that things were going to be good, she was going to make it, and to keep fighting and so on. Anyway, I would spend a full 15 minutes with her, talking to her and praying with her and just making sure that she knew I was there if she could know. And now we know that she did. I'm getting lost in my notes here because I'm ad-libbing so much. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's see, where am I at?
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, in the 2 weeks, not only did they bring me food and water and Gatorades and that kind of stuff and make sure that I was okay and that I wasn't passed out somewhere dying, they would call me and check on me regular. I'm talking about to the point where you almost, every time I got to sleep, I got woke up. But I appreciate it to this day because I was scared. I was afraid I was going to die. And there was nobody here to help me. So that's what I deal with now is I still deal with that a little bit. If I get the least bit, don't feel good, I start panicking a little bit. But I know I'm okay. I'm fine. It's my wife I worry about the most now. But and she's strong. But I'm telling you, she's strong. She's still here. So she beat the odds. She's a lot stronger than I am.
I think it's a combination for us.
The doctors and the nurses, the whole staff, even the janitors. We had one lady who was a janitor that come in every day.
Every day.
And she was just as sweet as she could be.
In her 80s, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
in her 80s.
In her
'Cause I asked her one day, I said, how long are you going to work? And she told me until she couldn't. Well, she's in her 80s and was moving around better than I was. So she would come in and check on Kathy before she'd go home every day. I don't know if she did that for everybody, but that's pretty moving for me. But she'd come in and check on her, and then tell her she'd be back tomorrow, and she'd check on her again, and she would. Anyway, I befriended the nurses at GV, and they would let me do things that I probably wasn't supposed to do, but I was taking advantage of it. I wanted to spend time with my wife. And I think their policy was 15 minutes a day. And I was there the first day, and I think the nurse, and I won't mention her name either, but we've become real close. But I think she was kind of moved that I was in there spending so much time with her and that she knew I was praying with her because they can see everything and hear everything that's going on in the room because they watch it 24/7. They have a post right there in a window, and that's all they do is watch that patient and the monitors. But I think she was moved so much that I was so caring and I was actually trying to take care of my wife. Not only would I pray with her and talk to her, and if she needed lotion on her head or if she had a piece of dry skin or
Feet.
I would, and her feet, I would take care of them while I was there. The nurses were overwhelmed already and I knew it. And I think they just appreciated the fact that I was going the extra mile, which in my opinion was not the extra mile. It's what I should be doing anyway, but apparently I'm an anomaly, according to them, was not everybody does that. One funny story about the taking care of her is I went in there one day, and this was after she had woke up, and it was, I don't know, probably 3 weeks into being on the ventilator. She finally woke up at one point, and I was standing there when she woke up, and of course I was pretty taken back, but I wasn't sure if she was there, wasn't there. And anyway, she started talking to me, and I asked her how she was and did she know where she was at and stuff, and she didn't know, and she was kind of panicky because she still had a tube down her throat and really couldn't talk to me. But later on, days later, I come back and she had the tube out of her throat, and they actually had her on a trach. So I could put my finger over the end of the button and she could talk to me until I took my finger off, which, no, you guys can't have that. That's not right. You should never wish that.
That's right.
Even though it's nice you can't talk sometimes.
Hey.
But anyway, I put my finger on it and she was talking to me, and she was telling me that her throat was really sore. And I said, well, why do you think it's sore? I kind of figured it was probably the tube and stuff had been there. And she said, well, somebody had came in there at some point and had stuffed a chicken down her throat. Of course, I immediately just died laughing because that's the funniest thing I've heard in this whole saga that I've been so upset and down about. That was pretty funny. And the nurse could see me laughing and decided to come in to see what all the funny was about. Well, I told her what happened. Of course, she thought it was hilarious, and she went back out, and I guess she was telling other nurses. I could see them all laughing. But I got ready to leave, and she had a little piece of dry skin right here on her eye. Well, I was just flicking it off, to get rid of it. And she said, what are you doing? I said, getting rid of a piece of dead skin. And she says, I'll bet it's a chicken feather. Of course, I just died laughing again. The nurse come back in again. So what did she say? What did she say? But these stories went on and on. We had another one about...
I was comical to them. Apparently, I kept them all going.
Yeah, I had another one where I come in one day and she kept motioning over to the little medical stand that was over beside her. It had the drips on it and the morphine and all the other stuff that's on it. Anyway, she kept motioning to it. She couldn't talk until I put my finger up there on her throat. And finally I said, what is it? And she said, don't trust the spooky woman over there. And I said, the spooky woman? She said, yeah, don't trust her. Don't look at her. She's spooky. So anyway, I kind of rolled back around where she could see it, and then she realized what it was. Well, this whole time, I don't know how many hours she'd been thinking a spooky woman
all
was
day.
there.
It was all day.
But again, I was laughing, and the nurse comes running in and wants to know what's so funny, and I tell her, and she's laughing again. So we built a really good relationship. So all that to say, I got a little special treatment, I'm sure of it, because I got ready to leave that day, and I told her, I said, I want to come back tomorrow. She said, well, 15 minutes, and she gave me a time. Well, I came back, and they were getting really strict about who could come and who couldn't. But after the next day, I told her, I said, I'm having a hard time getting in. And she said, well, I'll tell you what, if you're coming back tomorrow, here's what you got to do, and I'll let you in. So I did go where she told me to go, and they did let me in. And this went on with her and a couple other nurses. And one of them was a male nurse that I still remember quite well. And in fact, he would call me in the middle of the night sometimes just to tell me if there was, an amen. That he'd call me and say, hey, let me tell you something that happened. It's real good. It was positive. So I always appreciated him calling me, even in the middle of the night. And he knew that. So anyway, they just kind of worked me out a schedule and told me what time to come and where to go and when to be there. And I was only supposed to have 15 minutes a day, but I can tell you there was lots of days where I got way over an hour before I guess maybe a supervisor or somebody's coming and they'd tell me I got to go. But I will never forget that, and I'll always be grateful. And if one of you are watching, you know who you are, and you'll never know how much that meant to us.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
went
don't
3
know.
weeks. I think it was 3 months. It wasn't. It was three months.
You were there
for
a month at Grandview. Yeah, when you woke up.
Yeah.
anyway, our timeline gets a little bit off because
Yeah.
there's so many dates and times, and just know it was over 3 months altogether. And she was at Grandview for about a month, the long-term care for about a month, and then at physical therapy for 2 weeks.
then
But it's
another
3 months. It's
hospital.
3 months altogether. So, but anyway, the times really doesn't matter. That's not what the story's about. The story's about how all of it happens and who was put in our lives to make all this happen, and it was no coincidence. So this has already went longer than I wanted it to. I said I was going to keep it short tonight. It takes a long time to tell this whole story, to do it justice, to where people really understand it and get it, and hope that this is helping somebody that needs to hear it. We're very blessed. Both our sons live by us, one on each side of us. Again, years ago, these were rental houses we had, and our sons ended up with them. No, we didn't just give them to them. They've worked for some of it, and some of it we gave it to them with some of it paid on it. I have one son that still lives right behind me, and the other one kind of comes and goes right now. We're not sure where that story's going, but we'll see later. But I love them both and wish them all well, and they just will never know how much it means to us.
That they help take care of us.
Yeah, they really took care
We
of
know
us.
our kids will take care of us, thank goodness.
Yep, and
So blessed.
not a lot of people get to know if their kids will take care of them when they're sick. We know.
Yeah, we know.
Let's see. Dr. Ken we was talking about is the one that finally came in and gave Kathy, put her feeding tube in when we finally decided that, hey, this is going to be long term and she's going to need some way to get nutrition. So he came in and actually did it at her bedside. Didn't even have to take her in a room. He's that good. Unfortunately, Ken is retiring, so I don't know who's going to take his place. So I'm going to tell you this last part, and then we'll finish it for the night because we're already at 17 minutes. Kathy was at GV until December the 30th, and then moved to another hospital across town to a long-term care. It was Nolan Hospital long-term. It's in the old Medical Center East building, which is St. Clair East now, I think is what they call it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I won't ever forget that night because try to do this without being emotional.
It's hard.
When they got ready to move her, the ambulance came to get her and had her on a bed to move her out. When I looked out the door from her room all the way to the elevator, there was 2 lines, one on each side of the hallway, and it was all the doctors and all the nurses. I don't know if they were just from that floor or if the entire hospital emptied out. I don't know. I know there was a lot of them, and they were all clapping, just cheering her on as they carried her down there and put her on the elevator. And after they got her on the elevator, I turned around and asked one of the people there, which turned out to be a doctor, and I said, "Do you guys do this for everybody?" And the guy looked at me kind of teary-eyed, and he said, "No, but not many go out of here alive either." So that's
One of the few.
that's pretty moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was one of the few that went out of there alive. So again, it's hard to talk about. Yeah.
I know. Can't do it.
It's hard, ain't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, if any of them's watching, we just want you to know that we still consider you family, and there's no way we could ever thank you enough. And I know we still stay in contact with some of you, so I feel like some of you are probably watching. Anyway, that's probably all we're going to talk about tonight. We're at 19 minutes, and I didn't want to go that long. One of the things is the male nurse I was telling you about that was on night shift. He called me at night. It's like almost like he knew that I couldn't sleep because I was worried. And he called me and gave me some little tidbit of hope that things were getting better. And I would tell him, you know, I would thank him and tell him, hey, I'm probably going to sleep better tonight. And I would usually, knowing that she was okay at the time, I'd actually get some sleep. What was you pointing at? We're still looking at notes.
Yeah. See, that's when I was still on that.
Yeah. She was still on a ventilator at this point when they moved her. So again, she had to go in a special ambulance.
Nighttime.
And it was at nighttime, and Kathy has a really, really hard time at night. We have to leave the lights on in the house. Nighttime or darkness just kind of freaks her out. We try not to even drive at night. And that's part of the PTSD they say that she has from it. And there's lots of other issues, but anybody that's had this, you know, don't feel ashamed because you have a problem or something freaks you out that wouldn't normally freak somebody else out. She's got so many problems and issues now that who would have ever thought?
I never did before.
So we just take them, you know, we take them one day at a time and we make each day count.
That's right.
Every one of them. Even today, as bad of a day as it was, having to go to the doctor and her feeling really bad. And this has been a good day. We're still sitting here together and we're still talking. We're talking
Still
to all
got
of
my
you.
babies.
And yeah, we got our dogs.
See
In a
my
second, I'll show you
babies.
the dogs.
See my babies.
There's the babies.
That's Gracie and Barkley. They've been by my side ever since I've been
I
home.
think they're a little tired today too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna drop the camera now.
Yeah.
So it'd probably be a good time to get off here since I've took it off the stand and can't hold on to it. All right, so well, I'm just really messing that up good, Anna.
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, say goodbye, honey.
Bye. I
All
love
right.
y'all. Remember, make each day count. Like and subscribe to our channel, please.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.